talking strength training in legs. We have done that a lot. We really want to start with what I remember worked on in March, I think, or maybe it was in January. And we worked on balance and we worked on strength sitting down and little balance exercises that will gain strength. When we have something to hold on, which I prefer, if you are feeling that you can try to stand up, then you have something to hold on to that is the best thing for your balance, right? So just to train the balance. And if you do train the balance, and automatically we can add a tiny little bit to that. If we're sitting down, then I think I did that 2 months ago with you, but I will go over that now. If we're sitting down, you can do some things in the chair that will help your leg strength as well. So remember that I said if you're sitting down, that you have to, whoops, gonna throw that off, all in the way. That was just for pretty. Oh, so if you're sitting down, always come to the end of the chair so that you can stand up and sit down. One of the most demanding exercises that we can do, that I always do to see how strong someone is if they come to me for the first time for training and for strength, then you kind of have to hold your leg up while you're sitting up straight and while you put your back up. And you have to hold your leg up in the air. But see how I'm all scooted up to the end of the chair. So I'm really scoot to the ends. And then if I hold my leg up one at a time, I have to hold it for 30 seconds. If I hold it for 30 seconds and I can do that, that is a very good indicator that you're working on that strength training. So you have to sit all the way up and then put that leg out. So if you're sitting on the edge of the chair, your hamstrings are not on the chair. So that's the trick. See, if you're sitting and scooting up at the end, you really have to hold that whole leg. So the idea is that your upper legs are working and that your quadriceps are working, the upper leg muscles. And the inner and the outer thighs are very important. And we talked about that because that comes in with balance so much. All right, you've got the inner and the outer thigh. The outer thigh, we call that whole part of our body, our lateral support system, is really, really important when we are afraid of falling or walking in a steady gait and things like that. So that is really important that we kind of train that. So if we sit down, you can hold on to the chair, but you want to do one leg lift and try to hold it, starting with 10 seconds and then maybe 20 and then maybe 30 seconds. And then put it down and then lift the other one. Right? That is a really good exercise to start with and to strengthen the upper legs. And for posture, we did all this stuff. Remember when we sit on the edge of the chair and we just lengthen our spine and stand up straight. Now, if we can do it standing, I'm going to hold on to my chair as well. Put my chair here. If we do it standing, I can do parallel squats. I want to hold on to my chair just for safety. And I'm doing parallel squats right here. So it looks like, if I hold on with two hands, it looks like this. My feet are always hip width. I'm bending my knees straight over my feet. So that we pay attention to that is really important, because if we do that, then we make sure that we're not out of alignment and our knees, this was something else, remember? Our knees are not collapsing inwards and outwards. That was a little, was that a chicken dance? Na 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 na. So if we are having our legs over hip width, we ought to be into that parallel position with our knees always over our feet. So if you're holding on or if you're doing that without support, support always better. Remember, just you make 5 and then you start with 10 squats. You just add on a little bit in time till you get to the 5 squats. So the open position squats are a little bit more difficult because now my feet are slightly turned out. So what I like to do, if you want to do the strength training, hold on or do it with your hands on your leg. So my knees have to go over my toes And I'm doing the wider open position squats. I'm just trying to keep my back straight. I don't have to go so low. We are not into, we're not in some kind of a crazy training where you have to sit all the way down. We're just having to go with the upper legs. And if I do that, I feel with those little squats, I feel immediately that they're kicking in. And so if you want to do that holding on to something, do it on, or if you're sitting down, of course, do the leg lift so you feel the upper leg. If you're standing, do the little squats. And if you do it a little wider, make sure you're not going too deep because that would not be very healthy for your back. And then we get that problem. So these are the first things that you can do. And I'm going to add on, because we talked about that so much, I'm going to add on what we did last month and just kind of add on a little balance. But now I'm going to add balance and strength. So remember how we lift the knee a little bit up to the front and then just the toe a little bit off the floor to check our balance? We did that. I remember. Now I'm going to add strength training to it. I'm going to leave this leg off the floor. I'm going to make 5 knee bends. Woo! On the other leg. And I can feel that right away. I'm going to make 5 knee bends on one leg. Now, if you feel that right away, that is immediately going into that upper leg. Now we're adding balance and we're adding even the strength training to the balance. So I have that here, alternate knee lifts, just repeaters, right? From 5 to 10 maybe the next day, and just on one leg. And I can feel that. I'm just kind of feeling that upper leg working, and all that I have to do constantly is be aware of the fact that my knee is going over my toes. That is really, really important. So I want you to be more on the safe side, because for me, safety is always first. And secondly, what I always do with us young 50-plussers, I always say we have to be safety first. And secondly, we have to take it back to more to simple, less choreographed. Just go back, break it down, go back to the simple way, because I always say simple and effective brings more results for us. So we, like I said, we don't have to do complicated dance choreography things. We just have to break the exercise down. What can you do with a parallel squat? Well, I can do a lot. I can do it with 2 legs. I can do it on 1 leg and practice my balance at the same time. I can do it a little wider. Or I can even hold a squat and then lift my heel lift and squat. So if I would do that holding onto the chair, I'm just doing the squat, and then in the squat, I'm doing a heel lift. Now that is really hard on the legs, but also really good to play with our balance. So be playful with just a couple of really simple ingredients, right? So you have the simple ingredients, but do more with it. And then the last one here is for us, if we're a little bit more, if we're outdoorsy or a little bit better in movement that day and we feel a little bit stronger, then if you do a fallout lunge, right, you can just go to the side and put it back. Go to the side and put it back. We have in our basic movement patterns, lunges and squats are the essential 2 of the 7 ingredients of our basic movement patterns. And a lunge, of course, comes in there, because if you do a lunge to the side, you kind of fall. So this is one of the perfect things that I do for balance training as well. You kind of have to fall to that one foot and then bring it back to the center. And you know why now a lunge to the side is one of our basic movement patterns, because that's exactly what we do when we fall. We catch ourselves. Or when we have to pick something up on the floor and we bring it back. Right? So those are basic movement patterns. We have to be able to bend and do the squat, or to fall to the side and pick something up, or to step out to something, or to catch ourselves. So I like to do it to the side, because that's a really good way for us to practice our balance training as well. So if I would do a fall out to the side, I can still hold on. I can even make it a little longer, right? I'm doing the other side. I'm holding it a little bit longer and I push myself back. And because I have to push myself back to my foot, I really practice my balance there. And of course, at all times, just feel free to hold on to something with two hands because that gives you a little bit more. Right? So hold questions, absolutely. But see what you can do with just a few things in the balance training and in the strength training at the same time with the leggies. And now if we're sitting straight up, one leg out, the other leg out, try to hold it for 10, try to hold it for 20, try to hold it for 30. And then you can make variations there as well. So if I would sit all the way at the end of the chair, and I pick one up, not two at a time, because then you're going to fall back. If you do two at a time, you're going to fall back in the chair. And then it's an abdominal exercise. But you can do a knee, and then you can do an exo rotation with a knee. So I really feel my upper leg working here, even in a very small movement pattern. Just kind of see if I can make those movements and I can really train myself to sit straight up. So that is the most important thing, that we keep our posture and we keep our back strong.